Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
After being Lincoln's #1 trusted plumbing, heating, and cooling company for 27 years, John Henry's is proud to announce we now offer electrical services. Call today to book a full range of electrical services by our licensed, background-checked professional electricians. John Henry's, our family serving yours.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, heating and air.
Now offering electrical.
Sunday morning. It's quiet. Not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
Hey, Santa, we're getting a lot of requests for Nebraska Lottery Holiday Classic scratch tickets this year.
Makes sense. Until January 3rd, 2024, players can enter non-winning tickets online for a chance to win $1, $5, $10, or $20,000.
Yeah, but I built like 1 million wooden trains.
Why do you keep making those?
They're a classic holiday gift.
Oh, trust me, Jingles, there's nothing more classic than cash.
Top prize odds vary by game. Did you know that when you play games from the Nebraska Lottery, you're also supporting and even... That's right. Since 1993, the Nebraska Lottery has raised more than $900 million for Nebraska's environment, educational opportunities, and state fair. So to everyone who plays, we say... The Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expecting partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies. We'll see an afternoon high of around 61. Tonight, mainly cloudy with a low of around 37. And tomorrow, we'll see a slight chance of rain. Otherwise, partly sunny skies are expected. We'll see a high of around 60. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 92.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
That it is. Happy Friday to you and yours. We hope you were able to take a long lunch and have your weekend started off already. We appreciate you spending that time with us here on the block. We're with you for the next couple hours. I am Austin Norman, joined by the Husker Hall of Famer, the 9-year NBA vet, Mr. Eric Strickland. Stricky, what's good?
Man, shoot, I'm a dang near 9-year ticket vet now, man. I love it, man, being here. It's going good. It's a wonderful day. It's a Friday. And a lot of stuff to get into on the ticket today. I'm hoping my picks come through this week because last week I was very disappointed as how they landed. Just so many things were so close, and these freaking guys didn't show up for your boy. But hoping this week is better.
It's either going to be really good for you or really good for me.
Whew.
We had a couple we were the same on,
Yeah.
but your boy was the contrarian in picks this week. Not on purpose, just going with my
Yeah,
gut.
just going with your gut.
What
That's
it
all
is.
right.
Text line, what does your gut tell you? Does Nebraska football get bowl eligible against Michigan State this weekend? 402-464-5685. Do the Huskers get it done against the Spartans, or are they waiting? Do they have to get bowl eligible against Maryland at home? Does it wait till Wisconsin? Does it come down to Iowa? Let us know your thoughts, 402-464-5685, as well as on any of our streams. Ronald watching on Facebook. We appreciate you tuning in there. Ronald left a comment. He's excited about the show, as are we. If you are tuned in on social media, drop us a line, let us know, and we will get to that as well. Went long with picks, so we're going to take our first break of the show here. When we get back, Nebraska's offense versus Michigan State's defense. Some interesting matchups there. The way those two units specifically go about their business, I think will be the story of this game. We'll get into that. We'll get into more Huskers and Spartans as we continue a Friday kind of preview show here on the block.
Hey, Santa, we're getting a lot of requests for Nebraska Lottery Holiday Classic Scratch tickets this year.
Makes sense. Until January 3rd, 2024, players can enter non-winning tickets online for a chance to win 1, 5, 10, or 20,000 bucks.
Yeah, but I built like 1 million wooden trains.
Why do you keep making those?
They're a classic holiday gift.
Oh, trust me, Jingles, there's nothing more classic than cash.
Top prize odds vary by game. Did you know that when you play games from the Nebraska Lottery, you're also supporting and even... That's right. Since 1993, the Nebraska Lottery has raised more than $900 million for Nebraska's environment, educational opportunities, and state fair. So to everyone who plays, we say... The Nebraska Lottery, 30 years of building a better Nebraska.
Fall has arrived, and it's the perfect weather for the DIY market to listen to the game while building a deck. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and Decorators composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance and to make your project go smoothly. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671 or go online to deckcityne.com.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Whether you're looking for a place to stay for a concert at PBA, a Nebraska home game, or just a night on the town, the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket is the place for you. Enjoy an evening at one of many restaurants or bars within a short walking distance. Business travelers at the hotel will enjoy free high-speed internet access, a 24-hour business center, and large in-room workstations. And check out the Bistro, where you'll enjoy healthier food and beverage options, as well as high-tech conveniences. Book your room today at the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. SCC's Discovery Days will give you the opportunity to experience SCC firsthand this fall. Discovery Days provide information about SCC's programs of study, how to pay for college, SCC support services, housing, activities, and more. A campus tour and lunch are provided. See your options at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket. and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. SCC's Discovery Days will give you the opportunity to experience SCC firsthand this fall. Discovery Days provide information about SCC's programs of study, how to pay for college, SCC support services, housing, activities, and more. A campus tour and lunch are provided. See your options at southeast.edu/visit-SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Celebrate Thanksgiving this year with Venue Restaurant and Lounge and Venue at Home with our Thanksgiving to-go meal packages. Our packages include sliced turkey breasts and roasted gravy, herb stuffing, Yukon Gold mashed potatoes, a harvest salad, and more, with add-on options to upgrade your feast, including smoked ham, prime rib, sides, appetizers, and desserts. You choose delivery right to your home or pick up at our Venue at Home storefront. Order today at holidaysbyvenue.net. That's holidaysbyvenue.net.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Strick and Austin back with you here during On the Block, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Talking Huskers and Michigan State. Again, let us know if you think Nebraska gets bowl eligible against Michigan State. Big B on the text line says, yes, I predict a Sparty spanking, 38-10 Huskers. Woo! Sign me up for it.
Okay, Big B.
Don't know if I'll be quite that bold, but
I would like a little bit of elaboration from Big B. Like, how do you expect that to happen? Like, in what way? And this is why it's good to have this discussion that we're about to have right now.
I want to look at the Nebraska offense versus the Michigan State defense right now. So Michigan State's defense in Big Ten play has been solid. If you look at their Big Ten game streak, they gave up 31 points to a pretty solid Maryland offense, 26 to Iowa, but not all of those came from the Iowa offense. There's defense and special teams involved there. They gave up 27 points to Rutgers, 18 of them, or 21 of them, 3 scores in the fourth quarter, 49 to Michigan, probably stole the signs in a rivalry game, and then 27 to Minnesota, but they piled on late. This Nebraska offense, Strick, is notorious for starting slow. Scoreless first quarters, slow second quarters, getting stronger into the third and fourth. That's been the recipe for teams against Michigan State so far, especially running the ball. Minnesota's fifth-string running back, Tyler Nubin, their safety, his younger brother, ran 40 times for 207 yards against the Spartans, but the bulk of that, a plurality of that, came in the fourth quarter. To me, how Nebraska commits to the run is going to be a big part. Michigan State only allows 126 yards a game. It's kind of like Northwestern in that way, where they've lost games, but they're still pretty stingy against the run. If Nebraska doesn't have success early with a young running back, the presumed starter in Emmett Johnson, will they go to the option? Will they let Heinrich Harburg take many hits against Michigan State? What does the game plan look like? I'm fascinated to see just how committed Nebraska is to running the ball.
Well, let's just look at just the tail of the tape. Like, if you're going into a boxing match, there's the tail of a tape, and then you look at what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. Obviously, like, for example, if you had a specific boxer where the jab was his strong point, or the hook, or his actual defense in making somebody miss, right? So let's just look at the tail of the tape. This is an interesting, for me, if you were going to be studying it, it would be an interesting case study for me, right? So when you look at it on paper, although Michigan State is allowing 28 points a game, it isn't as bad as what it looks like on paper. Here's why. Because you had them against that Minnesota team, as you said, they gave up over 200 yards rushing, and the way that they gave that up. But in all actuality, they only allowed 3.6 yards a carry. Same thing with Michigan. And we know what Michigan's run offense is like. They, being as good as they are, as deadly as they are, as persistent as they are in the run game, they only allowed Michigan 120 yards on 3.5 yards a carry, which is around their average. That's Nebraska's strong suit. So to me, it's what they're going to do with the game plan of us in our strength of being pretty staunch in, pretty strong in the run defense, as opposed to Nebraska, who is very focused, committed, determined in the run game. We saw only having 11 passes last week. How they are able to take advantage of situations or defensive scheming or putting in the box, and how they're able to scheme that up to take advantage of opportunities there is going to help them. Outside of also Washington and Michigan, where they gave up 357 yards passing to Michigan and then 536 to Washington. Obviously, we're not going to be in that category at all. But they've been pretty solid at 223 yards, as far as the pack. That's probably their strength is. I mean, actually, their strength is in the run, but they're pretty average. And so where's this game going to be won? I think it's going to be a couple big plays. Who's going to make it, whether it be on the defensive side, special teams, and so forth and so on. How this game is going to probably end up being a win for either the Huskers or the Spartans.
Is this an Emmett Johnson game? Is this a Heinrich Haarberg game? Is this an Anthony Grant game in the run approach?
I to be honest, I think they have to be creative. Like, I think they have to get a lot of situations where there's going to be more hats in the box that usually they can hit. So what you're going to have to do is test the eye discipline of the team, whether it be counter work, trap work, some form of misdirection work to really take advantage. Otherwise, if you think you're going to go head up zone, downhill, just traditional block down pulls, I think it's going to be tough for you to run. I think it's going to have to get some form of a hat out of position, then to allow a hat to catch up with him, or somebody to put a double team and get up to that guy. I think that's what's gonna be needed. We'll see how they're able to do that. But I think you can get a slow start. I think you need to get a solid start and at least be at their average or above in order to have some success as far as the Huskers are concerned.
Then you said earlier in the week, and I'm sure you're going to stick to it, Nebraska is going to have to throw the ball more than 11 times to win the game. Chance Rucker's a really good corner for them. Their DBs are pretty solid, but I still think there are opportunities for Nebraska, especially when you talk about a couple big plays, right? Think about the long touchdown to Coleman, the long one to Lloyd. If I was to make a bold prediction, it was that we have 3 weeks in a row with a freshman wide receiver getting a touchdown. Give me Jaden Doss getting in the end zone for the Huskers if I'm going to make a bold prediction. But 12.6 yards per completion for Nebraska this year. That's a pretty solid figure. They're not throwing it much, but they're hitting some big plays when they do decide to throw it. On the flip side of that, Michigan State's allowing 7.7 yards per attempt. That's still pretty healthy. That if you can get 8 yards per pass, that's pretty good. And they're allowing 62% completion. Maybe it's not as much on the DBs. Can you attack the linebackers? Can it be a big game for a tight end over the middle? Can you be creative with the running backs and get them out in space against linebackers? This is a game I think Billy Kemp over the middle working against those guys would have been a huge piece of the game plan for Nebraska. So I do think Nebraska is going to commit to the run, but they're going to have to hit a couple big pass plays.
There's no question, Austin. They're going to have to do that. But in the midst of that, I think also a determining factor is going to be the wind.
Yes.
So it's going to be the location of the wind, if you're with it or going against it. I think that's going to be something to determine where you're going to see some of those big shot opportunities. I don't think they're going to want Haarberg throwing deep into the wind. They'll probably give them, if I'm them, I'm using screens. I'm using, because why? I think Michigan State's going to try to throw wrinkles in stunts, zone blitzes, different things to kind of get Haarberg in those situations, or to get those hats to where there's confusion in the line. Because let's be real, they got new faces in the line. So I think they're going to do some things to try to throw wrinkles to not give them traditional hat on hat, or knowing where guys are when they're in traps or they're in whams or they're in different types of blocks. They're going to do some stunning, some different things to hopefully try to confuse the front so that they're not getting the amount of hats, and it's going to leave two at most guys to be free to run. That's what I think they're going to do. Whether they can do that or not, that's where I think the misdirections, that's why I think the angles, the out of the backfield. You would love to have a Ramiro Johnson in a situation like this where, if I'm Nebraska, I'm maybe using fleeks. I'm using him out of the backfield, then I'll maybe get him into a slot position just right off of a tight end or so forth on the other side, and let him work an option route on guys. And if I'm the quarterback, I'm working option to next guy and then make a decision to run or throw the ball away.
And that's easier if you're on the move outside the pocket. I'm curious to see if we get any more of that dialed up from Marcus Satterfield for Heinrich Harburg. Because if you're going to test the linebackers in coverage, another way to do that is make them move side to side. Are they going to come up and guard the quarterback run, or are they going to stick with their receiver? You might not, bust off a huge explosive play, but if you can get 5 yards on a rollout, keep on schedule.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's what I talked about yesterday is I think he works good out of the pocket as opposed to in. And so whether it's misdirections, getting those linebackers to make decisions, because if you run, like for example, if you run a zone read option with a slight roll, if that backside is not disciplined, go to the backside with space.
Yes.
Run the other guys off, because you're going to have more man coverage than you're going to have just traditional cover twos and cover threes, unless they're behind the chains, right? You're going to have more man coverages to where they're going to be focused on Harburg. Why? Because his numbers of carries are high. So if you get them looking in that direction as if you're going to run him, and you can go backside, even with a backside tight end screen. You know what I mean? Where you kind of wheel route out a running back, block as if you're going kind of a semi-max, and then backside with a man, because guess who can only cover it? The strong side linebacker. And so he'd have to get, I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm a genius, but I'm just saying this is what I think has to happen. A lot of mixed direction stuff to get linebackers' eyes looking one way, thinking downhill, and go back weak on them and then work them. That's what I think.
Doesn't necessarily take a genius to, I wouldn't think, to game plan, given what we know about Nebraska and Michigan State. But the more you keep talking, the more people are going to think you're a genius. So keep it up. You're on a roll.
I'm hoping I see it, because I think that's the way that we're going to be able to take advantage of it. Because I just know we're going to see the same thing until we can actually break through.
Do
right?
something good. Yeah.
Like, if you're going to war, the opposing team or the opposing enemy is going to defend or cover or protect against your strength, right? And until they can either get around your flank. So they're going to keep coming at you in a way until you're able to show that you're able to beat it. And just Nebraska hasn't been able to do that yet, but they've been able to win and win ugly and win, by continuously being persistent. And then the defense has also put them in great positions to win games.
We have some responses on the text line to the question, does Nebraska get bowl eligible on Saturday? Big B said, yes, he's the one that predicted the Sparty spanking. Defense will hold up strong and create turnovers. We'll get to the rest of the responses when we get back to finish out hour one. And a couple things I want to touch on before we take a look around national college football scene for the Huskers and Spartans. We'll do that as we continue here during On the Block.
When it comes to tackling your fall projects, having the right equipment can make a huge difference. At Sunbelt Rentals, they have an extensive line of tools and equipment to help complete any job. From lawn and landscape equipment to hand tools, pressure washers, portable generators for you tailgaters, and much more. Sunbelt Rentals makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Drop in to see the experts at 5450 Alvo Road in Lincoln, or visit sunbeltrentals.com today to learn how Sunbelt Rentals can make it happen for you.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Tailored Lights is your go-to local manufacturer and installer of the best landscape lighting. Tailored Lights is excited to highlight the architecture of your home or business and provide a warm environment that feels safe. And for those outside the Lincoln area, they do ship across the country and are happy to work with anyone near or far with lights anywhere from 18 inches to 110 inches. Enhance your curb appeal with an exquisite Tailored Light today. Call 402-432-2572 or go to tailoredlights.com.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. SCC's Discovery Days will give you the opportunity to experience SCC firsthand this fall. Discovery Days provide information about SCC's programs of study, how to pay for college, SCC support services, housing, activities, and more. A campus tour and lunch are provided. See your options at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Power combo BOGO? Huh?
Yes, if you purchase an air conditioner, you receive a furnace completely free. At John Henry's, our professionals want to ensure you are comfortable in your home all year long, no matter what Nebraska has to throw at us. Call today to schedule your free estimate and learn more about the free furnace waiting for you. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Celebrate Thanksgiving this year with Venue Restaurant and Lounge and Venue at Home with our Thanksgiving to-go meal packages. Our packages include sliced turkey breasts and roasted gravy, herb stuffing, Yukon Gold mashed potatoes, a harvest salad, and more, with add-on options to upgrade your feast, including smoked ham, prime rib, sides, appetizers, and desserts. You choose delivery right to your home or pick up at our Venue at Home storefront. Order today at holidaysbyvenue.net. That's holidaysbyvenue.net.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expecting partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies. We'll see an afternoon high of around 61. Tonight, mainly cloudy with a low of around 37. And tomorrow, we'll see a slight chance of rain. Otherwise, partly sunny skies are expected. We'll see a high of around 60. I'm meteorologist Kyle Kleckner for 92.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're getting it on a Friday. Getting after it.
All right. Cyber Heyman text line is on fire.
It do be.
Yeah.
I'm Boss Norman. He's Eric Strickland. You are who you are. We appreciate you listening to On the Block. On the text line, let's start with Pooh Bear. It says 13-6 Huskers. Huskers won't be able to run much against the Spartans. Nebraska Northwestern was a 17-9 game. Think about how many opportunities Nebraska left on the field. I think Michigan State's going to be a little more athletic than Northwestern.
Yeah.
But I think Nebraska left a good 7 to 10 points out on the field against Northwestern. So I think the Huskers should be able to get into the 20s. I would hope.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Let's see. 35-81 said Huskers control the game 27-10. Special teams have a big day and the defense smothers the Spartan offense. 27 is probably on the upper range of what I would hope for this team. 10 would be a really good day for the defense. It's the special teams I want to focus on here, though, Strick. We talked about the block field goal last week, returned for a touchdown by Quentin Newsome. You look at Tristan Alvano banging home the 55-yarder, which was awesome. But special teams have played a big part in Nebraska-Michigan State games before. I remember the 2014 game where DeMornay Pearson-L had that punt return that almost won the game for Nebraska. They ended possession short. But, of course, 2021, Nebraska punts it the wrong way. Jaden Reed catches it and just waltzes into the end zone from 62 yards out. Nebraska special teams aren't elite. Michigan State's are probably in the same neighborhood. But special teams could have doomed Nebraska early last week and against Purdue with the fumbles and everything that went so wrong. Clean it up.
It's a must. And I think we need to continue to see with this season, if they can continue to have a similar formula to what Iowa has been and finish it up that way, meaning creating turnovers, special teams is absolutely phenomenal. Punt game, they're putting balls consistently inside of the, I would even venture to say the 10. If you can get balls inside the 10, definitely inside the 15, let your defense do its work, I think your chances are a lot better. I can get behind that. But in the meantime, in between time, I also would think that if your offense is then pretty strong, you have big wins in the Big Ten, meaning big wind. And if the wind is working with you, now you're holding a lot of 3 and outs. And we didn't get into it yesterday, but I know you wanted to, or I think Nick wanted to at one point, but he had spoke about Nebraska's stop rate has at like 87%.
Skyrocketed.
Right? If they can continue to hold the form on that, then you're taking advantage of, field advantage switches, change of field position. And then that's when your offense can be successful.
Yeah.
I think you give Nebraska's offense a short field, then they can be a little bit more creative.
Right.
As long as they are disciplined and not having penalties, bad snaps, fumbles, different things that put them behind the chains. If Nebraska can work ahead of the chains, continue to move the ball, let their defense be strong, then they've got a chance to do some things, I think, on the offensive side as far as putting balls into the end zone.
I'm with you. Run for 4 yards a carry. You have a few 3 and outs and bury some punts inside the 10. Ed Foley talked to the media earlier this week. Haven't heard from Ed Foley in a while, it seems like, but Buschini's average is close to where it was last year, but there's not a whole lot of punts inside the 10. And Foley's rationale for that is all of Buschini's opportunities to really unleash the leg, boost that average, and really flip the field have come into the wind. So when he's punting with the wind at his back, it's been, hey, we have to kick it short because Nebraska's at midfield already. But when Nebraska's backed up in its own end zone or inside its own 20, it's been into the wind where it's harder to get those big punts. So maybe this is a day where the wind is finally in Brian Buschini's favor if Nebraska's scuffling on offense and he gets a chance to change a game. Thundernut Collins says 34-13 Big Red, and Ryan in Nashville says 20-17 Huskers. Every time we think it'll be a better next game, or if we clean it up, Nebraska always seems to one-up itself. 1 week ago, it was a pick on the first pass. The next week, it was an opening kickoff fumble. Who knows what it's going to be this week? That's why you play the game. That's why you watch, and you try to eliminate those plays as often as you can, but one at a time, right? You can't worry about the pick on the first play against Northwestern. You can't worry about the fumble on the opening kickoff against Purdue. Just don't let it happen against Michigan State. That's what it comes down to.
Basically.
I want to talk a little bit of Spartan offense versus Husker defense when we get back. There's more stuff going on at Michigan I think is worth getting into, and a couple rather notable games in college football. We'll get to that before we talk to Andrew Alex of 24/7 Sports. Take a look at the ACC and what we were talking about earlier in the week, just how strong of a resume will Florida State have at the end. All that and more comes your way in hour 2 of On the Block.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Fall has arrived, and it's the perfect weather for the DIY market to listen to the game while building a deck. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and Decorators composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance and to make your project go smoothly. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671 or go online to deckcityne.com. Leaves are falling and the temperatures are cooling down. But don't put your golf clubs away. Double Eagle Golf makes golf leagues and events possible year-round. Leagues are underway with winter leagues beginning on November 27th. Check out their deals on monthly memberships and schedule your Husker watch parties, birthday or bachelor parties, corporate and team outings, or just a good old Saturday with the boys. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Book a tee time today or learn more at Double Eagle Golf. Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. This week, enjoy a 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th. Get USDA Choice Whole New York Strip Loin for $6.99 per pound, bone-in turkey breast for $1.99 per pound, and plenty more options. That's all at Fairway Meat Market for the 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Whether you're looking for a place to stay for a concert at PBA, a Nebraska home game, or just a night on the town, the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket is the place for you. Enjoy an evening at one of many restaurants or bars within a short walking distance. Business travelers at the hotel will enjoy free high-speed internet access, a 24-hour business center, and large in-room workstations. And check out the Bistro, where you'll enjoy healthier food and beverage options, as well as high-tech conveniences. Book your room today at the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Creekat, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Yes, it is hour 2 on a Friday. Thanks for chilling with us. Thanks for talking Huskers and Spartans with us. Again, let us know if you think the Huskers get bowl eligible tomorrow or not. Drop us a line 402-464-5685. On the Starter Heyman text line or on any of the video streams brought to you by Starter Heyman Jewelers, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. I'm Austin Norman, joined by Eric Strickland. In about half an hour, we will have Andrew Alex on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Speaking of exceptional and local, Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Did you get yours yesterday?
And you know I did.
I figured you did.
I sure
Just want
did.
to follow up on that.
And you know, because we had WTF last night as well from 6 to 7. Clester and I, and we actually got into a really good segment, Austin, dealing with coaches. So we're starting kind of a series talking about coaches and not only the impact of coaches, but the love. What is the love really for these days? I just remember coaches back in the day when I was coming up. You know, I was blessed to have my father or even do it at points in time. Even though he was an officer in the Air Force, he still had the time. Are coaches doing it for the love or for the impact or the imprint that they're able to put into the hearts, the minds of young men, young women these days? Or is there now a point where it's become monetary? It's become, you know, about maybe your kid and not necessarily the totality of the kids. Also, things that have changed with that, Austin, is I remember when coaches used to come pick me up. That now is probably kind of a taboo type of thing because just, you know, all the stuff that's going on out there. You have your Larry Nassers and, you know, just different things like that. Not to say that he was a coach, but just entrusting your kids into the hands of others outside of the sport in itself is, you know, can be difficult. But so now what are those impacts and how has it changed and how has it shifted? And so we got into that debate. And so when we're looking at even now, some of the things that we briefly talked to about on air is the fights that are going on amongst coaching, which we're going to get into. And is it the monetary aspect of it that everyone wants to hold on to the power of the purse? So I don't know, man. I think it's pretty deep. And so we're going to do a series about that. We started off on the peewee, the lower levels, and we're going to continually gradually move up through the higher ranks into the pro ranks.
That's awesome. Make sure you check that out wherever you get your podcast. Search We Talk Facts, WTF with Strick and Cluster. It's on the Tickets website. All the Tickets social medias have the live broadcast of it. If you want to go back and listen, make sure you check that out. Nebraska, Michigan State, quick wrap up, Strick. We've talked a lot about Nebraska's quarterback issues.
Yeah.
Michigan State has them too.
Worse,
Noah
probably.
Kim, DP's guy from the Virginia region, was named the starter at the beginning of the year. He got banged up against Iowa. Well, now Michigan State's bouncing back and forth between a couple freshmen. Caton Hauser, who's more your pocket passer guy, and Sam Levitt, who can do a little bit more dual threat action. Not
Hauser
great.
got benched.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been going back and forth between them. Hauser's benched. We assume it's going to be Levitt who's starting for Michigan State tomorrow. The running game is led by Nate Carter, who transferred in from UConn, of all places. He's been solid, 4.3 yards per carry, 4 touchdowns. But Strick, he has 17 catches. He's the 4th leading receiver in terms of receptions on this Michigan State team. We haven't seen a lot of teams test Nebraska's linebackers in coverage with a running back.
Right.
So to see how often Michigan State wants to involve a guy like Nate Carter out of the backfield, because I think Nebraska's defensive backs have an edge on Michigan State's receivers. Does Michigan State target Nebraska's linebackers with a guy like Nate Carter?
It could be a similar game plan in that manner. I think that is probably the advantage that each team would have. I don't know. Yes, being that he's their 4th leading receiver, I think Nebraska in the past with receivers out of the backfield have struggled whenever they've been good there in that aspect. But I think Nebraska is going to come with pressure. They're going to force them to, because they're interception prone. They're going to force them to make tight throws in coverage. And if they're smart, I'm kind of zoning up their tight end group. I'm doing a lot of zone blitzing stuff with maybe man coverage on the outside on there, but maybe some zone with maybe one of the safeties and a couple of the linebackers. I don't know if I want to put them in one-on-one stuff unless I'm coming with some pressure that they may not see. Then it's an easy kind of pickup in those situations. Watch out for some screen actions, because they know Nebraska's probably going to come downhill on them on some blitzing, and so they're going to have to watch out for some screening. I don't see the quarterbacks hurting us with their feet, so why not at that point?
Nebraska has done a solid job covering screens. We remember the Isaac Gifford play against Northwestern where he leaked out between those 2 offensive linemen. Prince William Monmielen made a nice play on a screen recently. The best receiving back I think Nebraska has played so far this year, Strick, would be Dylan Edwards out of Colorado. What he did to TCU in that first game out of the backfield as a receiver, splitting him out wide sometimes. Michigan State won't do that nearly as often with Nate Carter, but Nebraska held Dylan Edwards to 3 catches for 8 yards in that game. So I think the linebackers are going to be up for the task. I just think we're going to see a little bit more of it. Let's stick in the state of Michigan, which, by the way, the Huskers have landed. They are in East Lansing right now, so the team is there. We're going to go over to Ann Arbor. The story that keeps on giving out of Michigan football in the Wolverines. This was reported by Michigan's On3 site called The Wolverine. I'm just going to read from the story for a sec here. Several sources at Michigan and in the media tell thewolverine.com they are gathering evidence on 2 private investigators they believe are behind the investigation into UM's alleged illegal on-site scouting. The same sources also believe the 2 are responsible for the media leaks that have kept the story in the news for weeks. So Michigan got notice of people that was investigating Michigan's wrongdoing. The funniest thing I think at the beginning of this would have been, how is Ryan Day going to get back at Michigan for doing this sign stealing thing? Well, here's the thing. According to the paper trail, there are ties to Ryan Day. It's Ryan Day's family that has ties to these private investigators who are investigating Michigan.
Yeah, that is kind of wild. It is not unethical, probably, for what's going on. It's probably a gentleman's rule of thumb that you probably don't want to do that, let alone get found out by doing it. It's not something that the Big Ten, I don't think, I could be wrong, that the Big Ten could come down on them on. It could be something on a lawsuit, potentially. They could be, they could say, hey, you were doing this or you're doing that, whether it comes from the university or from the coaching staff or whatever the case may be. It's a precedent that probably don't want to set. You know, especially when you're dealing with NIL and you're dealing with recruitment and you're dealing with a lot of different players and recruiting a lot of different players, and the way in which you're doing it, let's be honest, every program isn't squeaky clean, and you just probably don't want to open the floodgate of people digging into your laundry, your dirty laundry, or your closet. You know what I mean? So if that does come out to be the case, then who's going to start looking into Ohio State? Who's next up? Is it Penn State? I mean, like, you know what I mean?
Is
like
it-
you
it
start
has
looking
to be,
down the
doesn't it?
line,
Yeah.
right? Then who am I trying to move up the rung against them too? And maybe those next few teams that's kind of hovering right around there may start.
Maryland's looking into Penn State. Iowa's
might
looking
start
into
digging into you.
Maryland.
Yeah. There's a thought.
Okay, so for clarity, 0013 asks me to clarify. So, according to the story, there are alleged links between Ryan Day's siblings and the private investigators who leaked the information that Michigan was stealing signs. So, Michigan University has information on people investigating them. That's where we're at. The people investigating Michigan allegedly were put up to
information.
this by Ryan Day's sibling.
Allegedly.
Which, that asks this question then, Strick. Let's say it's true. Does Ryan Day get plausible deniability, or is Ryan Day in the Jim Harbaugh seat for this one? Where maybe he didn't directly order it, but he had to know this was going on. If it's his siblings, I would think.
Right. That's the part.
The other thing that I think is interesting that I don't think plays a part in how the Big Ten would punish Michigan, but I still think is just wildly fascinating. Again, from the story on 3. In addition, other sources at Michigan allege that some of the evidence, specifically a spreadsheet provided to the Washington Post with Connor Stallion's travel plans and budget for his operation, was obtained by gaining access to Stallion's computer illegally. So what Michigan is saying is the information that the private investigators got should have never been discovered. They're hacking.
Basically. Right.
Now, if this was a full-on court of law, that's impermissible evidence. You can't
Right.
break a law to get evidence, right? You can't use it. But the Big Ten isn't a legal court. Do they want to operate like one? Or do they just say, we don't care how the information got out. The facts are the facts. We're going to punish you anyways. I'm so fascinated to see how Tony Petitti handles this.
That's absolutely right, because you're right. They're not a legal entity. It would be like, just say you're in corporate America, right? You're the CEO and you obtain information about someone that's under your purview, whether it be the COO, the CTO, or whoever it is. Information has gotten to you regarding them and their ethical or unethical behavior. And as the CEO, the legalities probably of the obtaining of it may not weigh as to what you actually did.
Right.
You know what I mean? You did this. Yes, I understand that. And yes, I can't necessarily legally come after you for it if you did something monetarily or you did something with, information about the company or so forth and so on. I can't necessarily come at you from a legal standpoint, but I can fire you. I can deal with you with some form of not sanction, but some form of dealing with you with punishment. I can do that. Because the fact is the fact. You did this.
It doesn't matter how you got the fact.
So that's why it's going to be interesting to see how Petitti handles it, but it does give him plausible deniability to, with what we talked about yesterday with 2 teams and potentially in the playoff.
Right.
You could kind of indemnify yourself from the responsibility of taking it.
You sent me an article that Purdue has evidence that Stallions or someone in his family Stallions purchased tickets to 6 Purdue games. Purdue, of course, Michigan's opponent in the Big Ten championship game a couple of years ago, which I'm sure, starts to explain some of that. Thunderknock Collins on the text line says, I thought Michigan State was recording too, and Michigan had that proof. I haven't seen anything substantiated on Michigan State stealing signs like Michigan. The way that we know Michigan State is involved in this is that they had their sign stolen by someone that looks awfully like Connor Stallions in a game that Michigan State played against Central Michigan. And as Jay was talking about on the show yesterday, Central Michigan's head coach, Jim McElwain, was on Jim Harbaugh's staff for a couple years. So the tie that we think is there is that Stallions was given a sideline pass to wear Central Michigan gear to take Michigan State's signs from across the sideline.
There you go.
Man.
and there's actually a photo potentially of him being on the sideline, allegedly with some glasses and allegedly
lighting up.
Lighting up on the glasses, which we all know with technologies of the day, there are things you can do with glasses, and it's
some of them are above board, some of them are not.
It's very Mission Impossible light, light, L-I-T. I don't know. We'll see.
There's going to be more layers, but again, this is where the ball is completely in Tony Petitti's court. Are you going to wait until you have all the facts? You might never get to the bottom of all the facts. Do you have enough to do something to Michigan? I would assume a decision of some sort comes in this next week if he's going to do anything about it, but I guess we'll see. Before we get to Andrew Alexick, a couple games I want to talk about with you here real quick. We'll briefly mention this one, Notre Dame at Clemson. Number 15, Notre Dame on the road at Clemson. We'll definitely talk to Andrew Alex about this one. Clemson at 4-4 hasn't lost back-to-back games in the regular season in forever. They need 2 to get bowl eligible. They host Notre Dame. Do you give the Tigers any chance to try to right some wrongs against the Irish?
I don't know if the team has given up at this point. I don't know if they just feel as if there's no return, that this season is lost. But they're facing something with this Notre Dame team that is going to challenge their heart. And that is, there's a running back by the name of Audric Estime. That man is a load. And as he lines up on the other side of you and coming downhill on you, it's going to test your heart and will throughout this game. Now, this is where you're going to see the full state of what Clemson football is, especially for this year. I think they're going to be challenged in that manner. And so we'll see. We'll see where their heart lies.
We'll get more on that game from Andrew, as well as Florida State and Pittsburgh. Florida State's going to be a big part of our discussion with him. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. We talked about this game very briefly in the crossover when we made our picks. Here's the thing, Strick. I am sad to see this rivalry go away. It was wildly entertaining, even if it was dominated by Oklahoma. It sounds like the athletic directors are working on bringing that series back on at least a somewhat regular basis. But what I wish happened was, as soon as Oklahoma said it was moving to the SEC, they preserved it like Georgia and Georgia Tech, who aren't in the same conference, like Clemson, South Carolina, who aren't in the same conference, but they play every year. I'm sure there were other things on their mind at the time, especially at Oklahoma, but I wish they would have taken that step a little more proactively.
Bedlam. I mean, say what you will about it. It was always intense. I mean, the history of this matchup is very, it still was always, like you said, it was always fun to watch, regardless of, I mean, you've seen some games that Oklahoma State opened up a can of whoop, on them. You know what I mean? And you've seen some games where there were some comeback wins. You've seen some games where Oklahoma did them dirt. And then you've seen some games where they were tight. So you don't ever know what to expect, even though it does, the dominating factor of it. Obviously, Oklahoma State's been in the doldrums of the Big Eight for a long time. Then obviously the acquisition of Barry Sanders, and you started to see a trajectory upwards and how they've had success. And so do they maintain it? We'll see. We'll see how that all pans out.
The last game that I want your thoughts on here real quick is out in the Pac-12. It'll be a later game between Washington and USC, 6:30 Central kickoff time. Is this a chance for Washington's offense to get back on track against a bad USC defense? Is this a track meet for both of these teams? Or is this where USC kind of rights the ship a little bit and knocks off Washington in Los Angeles?
It's either Washington is going to take this by the reins or they're going to do Washington things.
Spit it.
Washington has been in this position before, where they've gotten to a position, they're sitting right there in the wait, because what's ahead of them is going to knock each other's blocks off at some point, where you're in the driver's seat of your own car. And right now it is a nice whip that you're driving. You're sitting pretty as you stop at the stop sign, but now the light turns green and it's time for you to go against a USC team. Are you going to go, or are you going to sit there? You got an elite car. Did you put the right oil in it, or did you put that regular oil and your car's now sputtering? This is what we're going to see. I think this is going to be a very good test for them to go down into California, into LA, against the USC team that's probably mad. There's some frustration there. They're probably looking at it from a standpoint of, how can we knock a team off his rocker after we've been knocked off? So it can be intense. It can be intense. So we'll see. And their defense just stinks to high heaven.
You can smell it
USC,
from here.
it's just the ugliest thing. And I don't know how their defense is just that bad. You would think that they would be able to do something on the defensive side of things. They're just bad. So, but we'll see. Will they be able to stand tall when they need to at home against the top 10 team?
Those are the games I'm interested in this weekend. Those are the high roller games, I think. But there's plenty more going on in ACC country. We'll talk Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida Pitt, trap game for the Seminoles potentially. Do they deserve their number 4 ranking? Can they climb? We'll get into that and more with our guy out in ACC.
It's either going to be the Pac-12 or it's going to be the ACC, I think. That's why I'm saying both teams are in a very similar position. The ability to take their own, put their own car in shift and gears to go on and take it. They're both right there. And this is what's going to be a great weekend to see that.
It will be. We'll get Andrew Alex's thoughts when we get back.
Living life to its fullest is just a free consultation away. If you're living with symptoms that you can't shake, then bring your low energy, brain fog, belly fat, grumpiness, muscle loss, and low libido to Limitless Male. We have the expertise to get rid of your symptoms. This is what Limitless Male does all day, every day. You won't find another men's clinic like Limitless Male. We know what you're going through. We know how to fix it. Schedule a free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Join Planet Fitness now and get the PF Black Card for only $24.99 a month. You'll enjoy an upgraded experience with tons of perks.
Like access to more than 2,000 locations worldwide?
Yep.
And massage chairs?
Yes.
Can I bring a friend every time?
Sure.
Can my friend be a horse?
Nay. Sorry. Get the PF Black Card and feel fit-tacular. Only $24.99 a month. Our most popular membership, the PF Black Card, is your ticket to getting all the perks. Join today. See Club for details.
Tailored Lights is your go-to local manufacturer and installer of the best landscape lighting. Tailored Lights is excited to highlight the architecture of your home or business and provide a warm environment that feels safe. And for those outside the Lincoln area, they do ship across the country and are happy to work with anyone near or far with lights anywhere from 18 inches to 110 inches. Enhance your curb appeal with an exquisite tailored light today. Call 402-432-2572 or go to tailoredlights.com. At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. This week, enjoy a 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th. Get USDA Choice Whole New York Strip Loin for $6.99 per pound, bone-in turkey breast for $1.99 per pound, and plenty more options. That's all at Fairway Meat Market for the 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. SCC's Discovery Days will give you the opportunity to experience SCC firsthand this fall. Discovery Days provide information about SCC's programs of study, how to pay for college, SCC support services, housing, activities, and more. A campus tour and lunch are provided. See your options at southeast.edu/visit-SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Kreekak, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to On the Block. Strick here and Austin Norman on a Friday, and joining us on the LO VIP line, and we're grateful for his time that he's taken out of his schedule from 247 Sports, is Andrew Alex, Double A. How are you doing out there on the East Coast?
I'm doing great. Strick, how are you, man?
Man, we're doing wonderful out here, man. Couple of things that are happening out there in ACC country that we've taken interest in, and just we'll start here because one of the main questions that I definitely had regarding the ACC is where it stands at this point with Florida State leading the charge, right? Florida State's found themselves right there on the tip of the sphere of college football championship, but with a schedule that is kind of starting to teeter towards whether or not they're going to be able to have significant wins that would afford them the opportunity to continue to stay at that slot, with a looming Pac-12 Washington team just hovering right behind them with a little bit more of a resume to potentially and maybe overtake them at the last moment. Because can you find an ACC team? You had LSU that looked like a signature win, a top 5 team early on, unless they continue to come on strong or maybe can find themselves in the SEC championship with a big win over Alabama. Teams like that, your Clemson, who you would have thought would have been one with a major signature win, Duke, who was solid at that point, but are they going to stay on top or continue to fall? And then, Miami, which you would have hoped, and then you throw in the North Alabama game, which is not a good look on the scheduling part of them. And then Florida's just not who Florida used to be in that game, just maybe doesn't look as strong as it may have looked in the past. So how do you feel about this Florida State team being able to secure the position with what it looks like, and now with the ACC kind of teetering with North Carolina and Duke falling off?
Strick, I'm not too worried about it. It's one thing that it comes down to for Florida State at this point. And, that one big thing is, can you run the table, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm not going to deny the truth in anything you just said, because everything you said was on the money. Though we have to factor in that when they did play Duke was playing well. Injuries at the quarterback position are really what's kind of put Duke back in their place, if you will. Not that that's your world-beating signature win, right? I mean, that's not, Ohio State beating Michigan or vice versa. But if Florida State can run the table from here, and you'll have a clean sweep of the ACC that would also include the ACC championship game, plus wins over LSU and Florida, they're in.
Mm-hmm.
The committee will not do the ACC dirty like that and keep an undefeated ACC team who ran the table in the regular season and won the championship, who also beat two SEC teams. And yes, those aren't the power brokers of the SEC, at least not this year, though they have been in the past. They are top-tier programs, though they leave a little bit to be desired at this current point. They're not going to ding, especially a school like Florida State, and keep them on the outside looking in. Now, if you lose any one of those games, yeah, maybe you're getting left out of the equation, and whoever loses the Ohio State-Michigan game takes their spot. If they lose to Florida and are on the table in the ACC, things get pretty dicey at that point. I still think that maybe you're on the outside looking in at that point. But right now, today, in my opinion, Florida State controls their own destiny to make the college football playoff, as they should, because you can only beat the teams in front of you. And though I don't know if they are the front runner to win the national championship by any means, I think they have the talent to compete if they're put into that dance.
We know some crazy things happen when teams go up to Pittsburgh. Clemson has fallen victim to that many, many times, and now it's Florida State's turn. We'll see if they can avoid that trap against Pitt, who has its own issues after last week with Pat Narduzzi's comments. But with Florida State coming in at number 4 in the college football playoff rankings, do you think that's fair given the resumes of the teams ahead of them? And if you look at the playoff as it is right now, they'd be playing Ohio State. Is that the best matchup for Florida State out of those top 4 as it stands right now?
Well, you know what? There's no such thing as a great matchup. But I do think that, 4 is a fair assessment for Florida State as things stand. I mean, we really just touched on it. They just don't have the signature win on the schedule at this point. Now, what would be interesting to me, right, in that initial college football playoff ranking, still ahead of Washington, obviously, like we talked about before, Ohio State and Michigan, both those teams can't go undefeated. Washington can go undefeated. So given Washington's schedule down the line here, that features Utah, at Oregon State, Washington State, USC, and then a presumable Pac-12 championship game, would those wins be enough to propel an undefeated Utah over Florida State? In my opinion, yes. Where it really gets dicey is if you have a one-loss Pac-12 champion in Washington, let's say they lose one game, and then they go on to win the Pac-12 championship. Then you have a one-loss loser of Ohio State or Michigan. And then an undefeated Florida State, you're vying for the 3 and 4 seed, assuming that, let's call it undefeated Georgia, and then the winner of the Ohio State-Michigan game as your 1-2. I think that it would be really interesting how they see that. I think that ultimately, right now, today, that probably does put them at 4 because of what we talked about with Washington. But it could get very, very interesting. So if I am Florida State, I think would you rather play Ohio State or Georgia is the question. And I guess my answer would be Ohio State, just because I think that maybe you have a little bit of advantage doing what you do best in the passing game in that regard. But I mean, I would say that both Ohio State or Georgia, whoever you end up against, if I'm Vegas right now, off the top of my head, that's at least a touchdown, if not like 10 to 14 point spread.
So the only reason I threw that out there is because, like you said, Washington is kind of looming right there just behind you with a big game out in LA against USC, a top 20
Which
team.
they'll take care of business in, by the way.
Right. Then you come right behind that, because one of the criteria is, we went over this here on the block, and we talked about the criteria a little bit of what the committees are looking at. And one of them is not only strength of schedule, and right now the Pac-12, if you look at it, I think personally the Pac-12 might have, as far as their strength and what they've been able to do nationally this year, they might be second. They might be second as far as strength of conference this year. So then you look at a USC, if they can go and beat Utah at home, then you have another. This is if these teams continue their winning ways. Then you have another top 20. You have 3 of them with a Washington State team who recently just popped out of there not too long ago to finish it off. And then you might finish it with a top 10 matchup again in a Pac-12, which that could give you a little bit of problem. Now, I do like Louisville. I like what Louisville's doing right now. Louisville looks very good, looks very interesting, looks fun. But that's the reason I threw that out. I'll let you address it, because I want to turn to your Virginia Tech Hokies right after that.
Yeah, I mean, you make excellent points there, Strick, about that down the line schedule. And you know, we talk about these teams continuing to win keep on their winning ways. And in my opinion, an undefeated Washington is going to have a stronger resume than Florida State. It's just like impossible at this point for Florida State to overtake them if they were to both win out. Because like you said, those 3 teams you mentioned, who I give credit to the Utah program, I give credit to the Oregon State program. Obviously, you have the former Heisman Trophy winner on USC. Now, granted, when those teams lose to Washington, some of them will no longer end up in the top 25 when it's all said and done and the dust settles and they put out that final college football playoff ranking. But that'll be because they lost to Washington. Right now, today, there they do stand in that top 25. But more importantly than anything else, they will have beaten Oregon twice. And the committee is going to lend credence to the University of Washington if they can beat Oregon twice. Where it gets interesting is if you then have Oregon win out. Washington wins out, but then loses to Oregon, and then Oregon beats Washington in the Pac-12 championship game. Who are you putting in, Strick?
Talk to me, Double A. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy to watch it all unfold, but this is the stuff that we get to look forward to in the last weeks of the college football season.
It's why we love it, Strick. It's why we love it.
Now, let's turn to your Virginia Tech Hokies, because they've come out of nowhere and found themselves at the top of the ACC after a brutal start. Losing to Purdue, losing to Rutgers, 2 Big Ten teams, and then also losing by 7 to Marshall before they kind of turn it around, have a tough loss again to Florida State, and now they're going to face at Louisville. And listen, let's be real about it. I'm rooting for your Hokies, but Florida State is rooting for Louisville. Let's be honest about this, right? So, how do you think about this game? Because I'm sure ACC powers that be are wanting this Louisville team to remain so that it continues to remain a strong possibility for Florida State to land in the college football playoff.
Yeah, well, like I said, Strick, I do think no matter what happens, Florida State, if they can win out, will make the college football playoff. Seeding, and I think that, like we just talked about with the seeding situation, I actually think that a undefeated Florida State is college football playoff bound, and undefeated Florida State may be locked into the 4 seed either way. But let's talk about Louisville, right? Because this is a really interesting football club. Year 1 under Jeff Brom, right? It goes to show how quickly teams can reload in this day and age of college football. Jeff Brom being a guy that you guys out there in the Big Ten West are going to be all too familiar with. That's, seeing what he did at Purdue over the course of the last few years. Louisville is a school with a strong NIL base. And traditionally, that donor money, which there seems to be no shortage of, has gone towards the basketball program. Well, the basketball program is a bit of a disaster. And so luckily the football team is carrying the slack there. Jack Plummer, who started his career at Purdue, then transferred. He was kind of on and off as a starter, ultimately gets usurped by Mr. Aiden O'Connell, who led Purdue to that championship game appearance, and is now one of the backups with the Vegas Raiders. He's solid, but he's not the kind of guy that you're going to trust to, win you a game with his arm. Key for Virginia Tech, number one, getting to the quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got to get to the quarterback. Rumor mill, and it's just rumor mill, but as you know, 247 Sports, I'm well connected. I'm talking to people all the time, especially when it comes to Virginia Tech's upcoming game. The Louisville people are telling me they're going to be without two of their starting offensive linemen and potentially 2 to 3 starting skill position players. I have been given no more detail than that on the skill position end. Those are maybes. Apparently the offensive linemen are definite. This is a Virginia Tech team. Leads the ACC in sacks. Just had 8 against Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
And has one of the nation's top pass rushers overall in Florida transfer Antoine Powell-Ryland. If they can create some chaos, stop the run, and force Plummer to put the ball in the air, that's how you find yourself in a situation where a turnover here, a turnover there, and suddenly Virginia Tech could be back in this thing. Now, if Louisville's humming and they've had the time to prepare for Virginia Tech's newer offense, and you talk about the tale of 2 seasons, we are basically running a completely different offensive scheme with a different quarterback than we were in the games against Purdue, where the starter was injured. We brought in Kyron Drones. Rutgers, Kyron Drones' first game as the starter, and Marshall the last game before they made a big offensive adjustment. Part and parcel thanks to Coach Davis. Because, when you guys are watching a football game, right, and suddenly the team is running an entirely different offensive scheme, you're like, was the dude who was calling the games before still calling the games? Allegedly, yes, but the analyst edition of Army's former offensive coordinator seems to lend some credence to like a lot of the smoke and mirror stuff that they're doing in the run game that's worked so well for them. So credit to Coach Fred Pry for finding the help and putting them in a position to succeed. I still like Louisville in this contest, but I think that don't sleep on my Hokies, who, by the way, you have your 4 losses.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them are out of conference. If Virginia Tech wins this game, they're going to have like a statistically probably most likely chance of any team to be the across from Florida State competitor here in Charlotte in the ACC championship game in December. That's if Louisville wins, they pretty much lock it up. But with Carolina having 2 losses, Miami having 2 losses, Duke now without their starting quarterback, Riley Leonard, who's slated to miss apparently significant time at this point. You never know. So it's a big game for Hokie Nation. I'm not like super confident, but for playing the number 13 team in the nation as the team that lost to Marshall a month ago, I feel better than I thought I would, Strick. Better than I thought I would.
Well, you definitely heard it here. ACC Talk out of AA, Andrew Alex out of 247 Sports. We thank you for joining us once again, and we look forward to hearing you next time on ACC Talk.
Yep. Strick, Austin, always a pleasure. We'll see if the Hokies can hang in there. We'll talk about it next time.
Sounds good. There he is, Andrew Alex, joining us once again on The Block. Good insight, and he tends to think that Florida State, they run the gamut. It's in.
It'd be hard to knock them down if you start them at 4. If you would have started Washington ahead of Florida State, and then Florida State wins out and Washington wins out, it would be really weird for Florida State to jump Washington given the schedule. But if you put Florida State ahead of Washington, even with Washington having defeated Oregon, if Florida State takes care of business, it'd almost be a slap in the face and feel unfair if Washington jumped them at the end.
It's happened before.
It
so
has, though.
That's unfortunate about it. That's the one thing about it. Sometimes it's that shiny, gleamy thing that's continuously popping up each week as you're looking at the schedule part of things. And if Washington can do that and as well as upset Oregon once again, and Oregon continues to remain at that place that they are right now in the top 10, you just never know what will happen. But we're going to get over to the crossover on 93.7 The Ticket. We're on the block, and Jay or DP will be joining us right after this.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. This week, enjoy a 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th. Get USDA Choice Whole New York Strip Loin for $6.99 per pound. Bone-in turkey breast for $1.99 per pound, and plenty more options. That's all at Fairway Meat Market for the 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now at Ticketmaster.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you looking for a night of epic fun without breaking the bank? Look no further than Sun Valley Lanes and Games. Join us for our late night special every Sunday through Thursday night and enjoy nonstop action with our Unlimited Fun promotion. Unlimited Fun includes everything you need for an unforgettable night out. Unlimited bowling, unlimited laser tag, and unlimited lucky putt mini golf. Show a valid college or military ID at check-in and get $2 off your admission. Visit the daily rates page at sunvalleylanes.com for complete details.
Sun Valley.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show, powered by Sunbelt Rentals. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador, Select Plumbing, Jimmy John's, Lincoln Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits, Fleet Feet, Bure's Cheese Spread on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block one final time off Norman Eric Strickland, joined by Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. The question of the day, does Nebraska get bowl eligible against Michigan State tomorrow? Pretty much everyone on the text line is saying yes. Nyla Boo texted in with the most recent yes. But, Jay, you played up at Michigan State back in your day. Did you ever think Michigan State's head coach, when you were in college, was going to go on to be one of the top 5 of all time?
Maybe not where he's at right now, but I remember when they were recruiting me in Michigan, and Nick Saban was great. And my dad really liked him. And one of the biggest things he said was, there's no way he'll be there in 3 years.
Wow.
He felt that he was that good a coach.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's big.
That he would go to a bigger job.
So what was it then in the decision-making process? Because Michigan State program wasn't that bad back then. They were actually pretty good.
They were decent.
So what was it then outside of the prestige or the level that Nebraska was at that kind of made you make a different choice in the options that you had?
Well, I just felt like I didn't know much about Nebraska before I came down here.
Okay.
I was all set to go to Miami. They went on probation. Nebraska was obviously making noise, and then got to play Florida State. But then once I came down here and to be honest with you, I was like, they got some brothers in Nebraska. I didn't know anything about Nebraska.
Yeah.
So, and then I kind of, Coach Osborne. My dad loved Coach Osborne. I liked the coaches. It was close to home. And so it was a no-brainer. It was a lasting impression. So when Nebraska started calling me and recruiting me, obviously I started to kind of, watch them. But every Saturday we were watching the Hurricanes, and then I started watching Nebraska even before I committed. Even when I went to other places, it was like always comparing it to my visit here. Yeah.
Do you see a lot of what you saw in your recruiting talks with Nick Saban from him now at Alabama? How is he the same? How has he changed?
Well, I'm sure he's evolved. Yeah. But I just think he was very upfront, he was looking at me like he was like, we need to, develop him for, a year or two, and was very straightforward, had a plan, no promises. It was just right up my, no different than when I was getting at home. So I'm sure he's a lot like that now, and probably has changed 2 or 3 times, when you're recruiting in Michigan. And the one thing he said was, look, I'm not here recruiting every kid, because we had several other kids that was going other places. He's like, I'm not here recruiting I'm here to see you. So that was a selling point.
That's dope.
Yeah. But my dad was like, East Lansing is, it's a great campus, but it's not what you want to do outside of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Because it's
no doubt.
It can get funky around. Yeah.
Yeah. Lansing is not an easy city. Pause for station identification real quick.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so Jay, it's time. I mean, like I said, they're in the driver's seat. It's in their hands to do with it what it will. So you have, I think, a war of wills, if I can say it that way, right? Meaning you have a defense that maybe looks like they're not as good at, but they're not as bad as what you would think either, as far as by the numbers.
Yeah.
You have offense that is pretty bullheaded on what they're going to do.
Right.
And vice versa once you make the switch as far as offensively for them and defensively for us. So it's really a battle of wills in this game. What will wins out when you really just kind of look at it and do a short assessment on both of these teams and how they are the makeup of the teams?
I think Michigan State's going to play hard. And they're I feel like they're going to be physical. I was watching them last week against Minnesota. It wasn't for like a lack of effort. They're probably not. I feel like Nebraska's maybe a little bit more talented. I'm sure they're going to start that freshman quarterback. He'll give you some chances, but also he's able to do some things with his legs and keep plays alive. So you got to, kind of play bodes well for Nebraska because they have a lot of hybrid guys that can kind of chase them down. So you can wear them out there, and then offensively, you just can't go out there and give them any life. You got to put together drives, sustained drives. They got Cal Holiday, who's a tackling machine in the middle. They got a variety of kind of mid-level rushers, guys that can they're physical. They'll get to the quarterback. But if Nebraska goes out and plays their game and cleans up a little bit things from last week, they'll be just fine. So I think both teams will have will. I think Nebraska's got you got to play steady and keep in the fight, and then break Michigan State, and you do that just by playing consistently. So it's definitely a winnable game, a game they should win, but it's not going to be easy. Look, nothing's changed from 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
After the bye, right? Where Coach Rule said, look, every team that they play, they can beat. Every team that they play can beat them. No different. It's just that you have a team that's dealing with some unfortunate circumstances surrounding the coach, athletic department, and that whole university as a whole, all the way back to the gymnastics. Has some dust-ups with some of the former basketball players with Tom Izzo. So you got to think gymnastics, the iconic university or program up there in the Big Ten. They're always pretty good with the Nasser guy. Michigan, the basketball team, and now the football team. And finally, weirdly enough, the stuff with the football coach is a distant third. That's somebody that had an ulterior motive in a whole different section that didn't have to do with football. So, and then obviously, the rest of the realistic evidence doesn't, really warrant what went on, but that's their choice. So the collateral damage is the kids. The collateral damage is the locker room.
Yeah.
They're looking at the finish line. They are concentrating on
getting through it,
out
of it. Yeah.
So when you're playing
Moving
teams, when you're playing teams that are just trying to get through it, you have to push them to the point that where they want to get through it, and then you get them out of there.
And Nebraska didn't do that to Northwestern.
No, but Northwestern is playing a lot better than what people assume. And the difference is Northwestern probably went they obviously really focused on fixing their defense even before the stuff with Fitzgerald. That was that was the emphasis for them.
That's why they brought in Braun, who was the DC.
Right. So that was already there. So that's one thing. And then offensively, they had Cam Porter, who was a starter last year or co-starter. And then they brought in a better quarterback, and they just always are Northwestern, right? And then the thing with Pat Fitzgerald happened before the season. So they were able to go through the bonding experience of 2-a-days, fall camp, versus the Mel Tucker thing. We saw him at Big Ten Media Day. Didn't come off. He was still the same dude.
Started 2-0 with him.
Yeah, started 2-0. They looked a lot better with Noah Kim. And then, boom, it just came like out on a Wednesday.
Unhinged, yeah.
Then you play Washington.
Right. Then you play Washington, who's significantly more talented and better than them. And then, so it was like bad timing.
It was like the wheels just came off.
Right. Just a matter of 48 hours. And so the dynamics of these two situations are different. And the intensity is different when you're thinking about hazing and stuff. Not to minimize it, but you got to think the stuff that they're, being accused of it directly affects the players on the field. That's what I'm saying that the difference is. So, I think, look, man, you're on the road. Anytime you're on the road, it's going to be a little different. But I think they just need to go out there and do Nebraska just needs to focus on what they need to do, and everything will be fine.
Sure, you're right. Good stuff. I know you guys are going to dig into a lot of stuff this weekend. You'll probably get into Cincinnati and the Buffalo situation too. You guys going to talk about that? Who do you think comes out on top of that real quick before we get
the Bengals and Buffalo? I mean, come on, straight.
Buffalo's
come on, man.
I know who you're rolling with. I actually bet with him too. Me and him both.
Here's what makes me wary of Cincinnati, and this is why I think they're going to give people problems. As Joe Burrow gets healthy, that defense gets even better. They're a problem. Yeah. I'm telling you, they have no weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Now they just got to get healthy. Buffalo, I think, is do well against them because they have the ultimate X factor, and that's Josh Allen.
Okay,
he's that dude.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. On
we called it.
We did. We both said it too. We're going to get out of here. Happy weekend. We'll see you tomorrow. A1 Automotive pregame. Strick, Austin.
Who are you pointing at though?
Hi, Sean Callahan here, Recopple Chevrolet GMC, and man, of the October incentives get better. You won't want to miss this. Happening right now at Coppel, you have 0% financing or $6,500 off MSRP on select new half-ton crew cab pickups. Yes, you heard right. Happening right now until the end of the month. 0% financing or $6,500 off sticker price. Those incentives are the best we've seen this entire year. Hurry on in while supplies last. Just take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at coppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All offers include trade-in bonus and with roof credit.
Sunday morning. It's quiet, not in a weird, too quiet way. Calm, peaceful, tranquil. You pour yourself that cup of coffee. You slice yourself a hearty chunk of one of Beatrice Bakery's breakfast breads. Now, maybe you're an apple streusel guy. Nothing wrong with that. I can respect that. Personally, I'm a turtle nut man. Something about those pecans. But the real ones know, don't sleep on that date nut bread. Sweet, but not too sweet. Nutty, not overly. The perfect morning treat. Beatrice Bakery. Online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. This week, enjoy a 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th. Get USDA Choice Whole New York Strip Loin for $6.99 per pound. Bone-in turkey breast for $1.99 per pound, and plenty more options. That's all at Fairway Meat Market for the 2-day sale on November 3rd and 4th in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 7th is chuck roast for just $5.99 per pound. And don't forget to check out their Friday feast this week and every week.